Hey everyone, and welcome to the newest Educational, brought to you by myself, yours truly, in partnership with my boys, my family over at Bitburger 00. So with that said, today I want to show you guys a hero that I think is, currently pretty decent, and even if he does get changed in the patch, I think it's just a hero that isn't like, all too crazy in terms of learning curve, but he is somewhat complex in terms of just understanding the basics. But once you understand like the strengths of this hero, I think you can use it very well in your games, and hopefully it will give all of you a better understanding of the hero. So let's load into a demo game real quick. I'll quickly talk about the strengths and weaknesses of this hero and ultimately what you want to do. And then we're gonna look into two lanes real quick in two games. One where it works a lot, where we have a really good game, and one game where the game is a lot harder and we have to, be creative and do other things. As the title suggests, Night Stalker is a strong hero in the night, not in the day. Mainly, one of the biggest reasons is his day vision. As you can see, it goes from here to here. Whereas if you put the PL here, look how much he can see. If you put PL in the same spot, he can see until like up here. Night Stalker isn't even close to that. This is because Night Stalker has changed vision with most heroes. Other heroes have 1800 day vision and 800 night vision, and for Night Stalker it's the other way around. He has 800 day and 1800 night, which is why he is so strong when it does come to nighttime. Also on top of that, his Q is not as strong during the day as it is in the night. His E only works in the night, and his W spell is also stronger in the night. E spell is the one that gives you movement speed and attack speed. Your W is the little silence aura. And then last but not least, you have your ulti, which turns the game into nighttime and gives you unobstructed vision around, and you can move over terrains. So minute 1 to 5 or 0 to 5, Night Stalker is very weak, and this is where you try to, play around your weakness so that when it does hit minute 5 in the game, you can be very strong. This is the time where you're gonna be able to shine, where your spells actually start coming online. And I'm gonna talk about a few item builds that I think are very strong. And yeah, this should be a quick introduction, and towards the end, I'll also touch on the talents real quick as we do load into the replays. The first thing to note when we do get into a pub game with Night Stalker is that the game currently starts in nighttime, which means you are very strong early on. So when you do start the game with Night Stalker, I would advise you to run into mid, try to get a lot of vision, because what you can do is that you can potentially see the enemies when they run toward. I don't know if we do it in this game. We don't, but I'm here like giving vision of the Bane. If they were to ward, we can see it. And yeah, so you're very strong, and remember that your Q spell is very strong in the night and not in the day. So starting items, the ones that I like with Night Stalker are either a lot of stats like Gauntlet, Gauntlet, Stick, Tango, or Bracer, Tango, because you have a lot of base damage already, so in my opinion, you don't really need a Quelling Blade. And as I said, you need to compensate in the daytime for how weak you are, and therefore I like a Bracer. So the idea of this lane, or what I like to do, is that I avoid the support so that my support can fight that one. Then you just play for CS. You're not gonna really look to play for kills and whatever when you play Night Stalker early on. And what I like to do after, especially when I play Night Stalker against Jugger specifically, is that I get a lot of stats so that if they ever do spin me, I can fight back. Because a lot of the time when you play offlaners against Jugger, the ones that don't have an escape, it's better for you to just fight against them than try to get away from it. So the early laning stage, we're just gonna try to get what we can, pressure where we can, and usually the skill build is just going to be QE, QE, and then on level 5 is where you can decide if you want Crippling Fear, but usually you end up like 302. On level 6 you're going to take your ulti, but you can hold a skill point, and as you can see here, I'm fighting back against the spin, and that's very good. So this is basically the baseline of the early game. Items that I would advise you to buy early on is, as I said, stats. Potentially you can work into your boots. If you want phase boots, then you can rush a chainmail if it's a lane where you need to sustain. In this lane I like to go a lot of stats because of Jug, as I've mentioned, with spin. And then let's load into the nighttime, because when the minute 5 hits, there's two things that you're gonna look to do with Night Stalker. Either A, if you've had a really good lane, as we have, you can continue to pressure your lane, stay here, and pressure the tower or pressure the heroes or whatever. As you can see here, we're diving the Jugger. We misplayed a little bit with the creep aggro, but I think, yeah, so we get them very low. We get the Bane super low HP. The Jugger had to use a salve. He missed a lot of CS in the tower. So we're gonna TP base. We run back to the lane together, and we're gonna look for another kill here on the Jugger. We end up getting it. Cool. Now, first ulti. First ulti, again, if it kind of goes hand in hand with how you're doing in your lane. If you're doing really well in your lane, you can stay here and try to use your ulti on the tower, secure it, or you have your TP ready to, you know, help other lanes. In this case, my TP comes bottom when he shouldn't. He could defend this top tower, because we can help him. You know, Disruptor can help him, Sky has TP, Mars has TP, but whatever. So we're gonna help him with the tower here, and now my next move, since, you know, my next move is gonna try to be around middle, which I think it might work. Yeah, so here we go mid, we try to make a play, we use our ulti, because right now we're the strongest here on the map when we press this button. So when you do have ult on Night Stalker, you really want to try to get it used, because it's just gonna give you bonus gold. It makes you the strongest hero on the map. You may also kill enemies and you make space for your team. Like, as you can see here, we kill 2 heroes. We force the Legion away from the tower. In the meantime, Terrorblade is free farming. We also get like 30% on the mid tower. So this was great for us. Now, when this phase is over, you know, maybe your ulti is on cooldown, it's gonna turn daytime, you wanna find a place to farm and kind of, you know, not recover, but like farm your way back into the game until you're close to your ulti, and then you want to look to smoke again, kind of as we're doing here. So, next items on Night Stalker. If you're having a good game, you can really look for something like an armlet into a blink dagger, into a BKB, or Echo Saber into a BKB. This really depends, but most of the time when you play Night Stalker, your first 3 items should consist of a blink dagger, a BKB, and 1 item. Usually you want that 1 item before the blink and BKB, okay? So in this game, as you can see, I'm gonna go for an armlet, and then a blink dagger, and then other items. The reason why a blink dagger is so important on this hero is that the main job of Night Stalker is to initiate and make the teamfight easy for your team. Because when you, as I said, when you use the ulti, you turn the game into nighttime, and most heroes have really bad night vision, right? But you on Night Stalker, you don't. So it's really easy for you to fight. I'm just gonna show you a few quick team fights where we execute it like that, and where it's really gonna help us, or where it makes the game easy for us. So here, not necessarily. So yeah, let's have a quick look at this fight, because this was a game where we had a lot of impact, and I'll just show you how you want this to happen. So here, we're kind of baiting or whatever, we turn on our ulti. Yeah, I think this is like not the best showcase. So let's go 17 to 27. So here, we're gonna get 3 kills in this next fight. Let's just see how it goes. I mean, here they just dive us, they make a mistake. So yeah, here, right? We're chilling, we use our ulti, we silence, we BKB, and we go on the backline. And like, look what happens in this fight. We kill the Bane first. Night Stalker is very good at killing the backline and killing supporting heroes and spellcasters, because you're gonna get full vision of everyone, you have the silence, you have the slow, and you hit really hard. So most of the fights, I'm just gonna want to play them like this. I'm gonna want to go around, use my ulti, jump on the backline, and that is gonna be my main job. And trust me, this game is gonna continue. So let me show you 1 or 2 more fights, and then I'm gonna look at something. So here again, you know, they have a dead hero, I have my ulti coming up, I wanna play very aggressive, I'm gonna pop my ulti, jump in first, we get a kill on this guy, ulti is still running, we get to go on someone else, we even find the 3rd guy here, and this is basically how we wanna play fights. Now my team is throwing, whatever. Let's look at the next fight in the game, and it's gonna be, you know, somewhat similar in terms of how we want to play the fight. Here again, we're gonna want to use our ulti, go in first, but ideally we go on the supports. Like here, ulti, we give vision on the support, and this is how we're gonna look to play it. And then the type of items you want to buy with Night Stalker, as I said, your first item is gonna be something like, you can buy Vessel in some games, or an Echo Saber, an Armlet. This is after your boots. Then usually you want a 2nd item, BKB, and a 3rd item, Blink Dagger. And then after that, what you want to itemize is so that you can kill the heroes you jump. So some games you're going to need a nullifier to kill the enemy supports who buy gold scepters and 4 staffs and so on, right? But now on the contrary, let's look at a lane where we didn't really have a good start, and it was hard for us, and we had to be creative. And it's the type of lane where if you stand there and do, just look at the enemy carry, it won't really do much for you. So in this game, we're playing with no one. We do end up losing this game, but I think the early game goes to show you what you want to do on this hero, and overall in Dota what you want to do. If your lane is really bad and keeping the status quo isn't good for you, then it's good to just be open, be creative, and try to make something else happen. So let's have a look at that in a moment. So again, when the game starts, you want to try to move to middle. I nearly have the same starting items again with a bracer. I think in this case we saw them ward. So here in this case, you can see we have big night vision. I mean, in this case it was a called ward, but it would have been me as well. So we abuse the night vision. You can even fight on the runes sometimes because, like I said, Void is still strong early on. So let's just have a quick look at the lane. It's a Void Bane lane. It's kind of annoying to lane against Bane. Hero's very strong. This Coddle wasn't that amazing. He stole a lot of last hits. But let's look ahead a little bit. So here I go stick, I brought more regen, Glove of Haste to help me last hit. And to be fair, the lane was actually okay. I thought we were doing worse. The Coddle stole like 6 CS, so we're actually ahead in the lane. But I was very underleveled. And once nighttime hit, I was not strong enough to fight back, right? Like, we're not pressuring. The Void has a full stick, Fairy Fire treads. My Coddle has no regen left. I'm 600 net worth behind the Void. So this lane is not feeling, we're not feeling great in this lane, right? I have to send regen, I'm low HP. So here it's like 5 minutes, well before, it's not amazing, right? So eventually we need to try to look at a way to open up the game. Maybe the mid laner can come to us and help us kill in our lane, right? But in some games this will not be the case. So here I look, maybe I can do something on the root, maybe we can connect together. But yeah, I'm level 4, I see the lane pushes. Okay, I'm gonna go bottom, sap some experience, this is good for me. Here we get a lot. It, kind of allows us to somewhat get back in the game. We get a lot of experience, quite a bit of gold. I was lagging a lot here, don't mind all the mid CS. I had like 400 ping during this game. We pause. So yeah, I have my ulti now. I'm very strong. So again, I'm in a position where I'm the strongest hero in the... Even though my net worth is the lowest out of all the cores, when I press this spell, I become the strongest hero in the game. So either A, we could make a move on the Void bottom, but it's potentially a little bit hard. I can only do it if the Void Spirit comes to me, but he doesn't have a level in Remnant. So I actually think this kill on the Void is currently impossible. We can push him out, but we cannot kill him. So instead, I can go middle on the rune timing and be creative. In the last game, I went here because I wanted to, because my TB went here. Otherwise, I would have wanted a kill in this lane. But in this current situation of the game, we cannot get a kill. So I want to be creative, but still try to use my hero where I can. On the rune, help my Void Spirit, whatever. So I angle behind the Queen of Pain. I come around with a silence, I use my ulti. We're gonna get a kill on the Queen, who was very high up in net worth. So we kill the Queen, I get a rune from my Void Spirit. We mess up this kill on the Clockwork, sadly, but we force 2 supports to go to base. We kill the Queen of Pain. We steal a stack here. We make them use RP, and I think now we get out, and during all of this time, the Void is like, oh yeah, I need to push bottom, right? Like, he's like, oh shit, the Night Stalker is in here, let's push the lane. And then by the time I come back, the lane is pushed into me, and I can farm. So I used, even though I was so far down, I really helped my Void Spirit just now, and we forced like all the heroes into the mid lane, and again, it's a scenario where my carry just gets to free farm. So now, kind of same story, right? We're gonna chill a bit, we're gonna farm, we don't have ulti, we don't have too many plays. In 30 seconds we have ulti, and that's when we're gonna look to do the same. And this is kind of how you want to play the early mid game with Night Stalker. And later, when you have the opportunity to go around on the enemy heroes, you always wanna try to start the fight and go on the back line. That is the strength of Night Stalker. He's like one of the best heroes at playing against enemy supports and mid laners. Those are usually the heroes you counter. But most often you get countered by enemy carries, like, illusion carries and so on. So what we have our ulti ready, and in this case I want to rush a Blink Dagger, because again, it's going to make the game a lot easier for my Void Spirit if I rush a Blink, and in this case I feel too underfarmed to go one item before. I also don't like rushing BKB in this game, and I don't really want to go an Echo Saver now either. So I think going a Blink Dagger straight up in this game is pretty good. Here I see no play, I think I'm talking about a smoke. So here we're gonna use our ulti, And again, we kill the clock, we kill the Magnus, we force the Bane to TP out, and now we want to make sure we use this ulti time. We hit the mid tower, it turns daytime. Now we are gonna be able to chill a bit. See, we make our move, and then we look for somewhere to TP, to farm a bit, wait until we get close to the ulti again, and then, you know, kind of return to do the same thing. Look for a play. Here, it turns into nighttime. Remember that day and night cycle is 5 minutes. And then we're gonna look to join a fight. And this is basically how we're gonna look to play Night Stalker in most of these fights. Let's look at one more fight that we take. I think this one was not ideal. Let's look at the next one. So it's a 13 to 12, and here again we rush a Blink Dagger. It gives us the skill on the Void. We initiate with Crippling Fear and the Blink Dagger. Remember that heroes who buy Yules, they're not really good against Night Stalker unless they Yule you. Because if they Yule themselves, they'll still be silenced when they come down, right? Depending on the level of your silence. So here again, use our ulti, we jump in, we kill the Bane, we kill the Magnus, we're gonna get a free Roshan, and it's just so easy to play on the Night Stalker's Vision and the Night Stalker ulti. So this is really a hero that I would advise some of you guys to at least look at and play around a little bit. Yeah, he's not that easy and he does take a while to get used to, but this hero is very strong and gives you a quite unique feeling, honestly, when you do play the offlane. Just remember that the strengths of this hero is the pre-rune timing, because it's night, minute 5 to 10, the first night cycle, your first ult usages, and how you want to play the fights later. You want to start the fight, right, with your ulti to give your team full vision. You want to try to silence and jump the most useful targets. These are usually spellcasters. You have a great silence and great vision, you know. This usually counters heroes that want to keep good positioning and use their spells properly. So the 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on the game. And then think about your items, right? Like your items are very important, but most often some small cheap stats into boots, and then you decide if you're having a really good game, you can go a bit more greedy. In another game, I also went Midas and then BKB and then Blink, I think. Let me look at that real quick. I think we lost a game with this hero where I went Midas. Here I went Phase, Midas, and then Blink Dagger. I mean, we're owning, but we're gonna lose the game, sadly. So we went Phase, Midas, Blink, BKB, and then Nullifier. I needed a Nullifier to, you know, kill the supports who have like Glimmer Capes and Force Staffs and all this type of stuff, and then a Basher. And last but not least, let's talk about the talents real quick. On level 10, you usually want to take the Dark Ascension talent. You can buy Ags on this hero against Illu heroes, but I think even then, your job should still stay the same for starters to kill the supports, and if you buy an Ags, you can't do that as well. So level 10 talent is usually the Dark Ascension. Level 15 is most often also the Dark Ascension. On level 20, Strength, and 25, again, Dark Ascension. Like, this hero is just nearly all about the ultimate. So here, the first thing to note when we do get into a pub game with Night Stalker is that the game currently starts in nighttime, which means you are very strong early on. So when you do start the game with Night Stalker, I would advise you to run into mid, try to get a lot of vision, because what you can do is that you can potentially see the enemies when they run toward. Right now, we're the strongest hero on the map when we press this button, so when you do have ult on Night Stalker, you really want to try to get it used, because it's just gonna give you bonus gold. It makes you the strongest hero on the map. You may also kill enemies, and you make space for your team. Like, as you can see here, we kill 2 heroes, we force the Legion away from the tower. In the meantime, Terrorblade is free farming. We also get like 30% on the mid tower, so this was great for us. Later, when you have the opportunity to go around on the enemy heroes, you always want to try to start the fight and go on the backline. That is the strength of Night Stalker. He's like one of the best heroes at playing against enemy supports and mid laners. Those are usually the heroes you counter. This is going to be part 1 of this video. I'm going to make a second one in the near future, depending on the next patch. If you guys have any more questions, or you have something that you would want me to talk about in the second part, let me know. I hope this video is going to help all of you out, and I'll see you next time.